before the break, the connecting word was in. Yeah. And again, what do I mean by in? Well, say that the baseline is you have the awareness of how different factors have been engineered to appeal, to manipulate, convince you, or whatever. Yeah? So you are constantly subject to this barragement of devices. Okay? There are different now some of it is not this interest, it's not like fooling you by stuff. Not always. But sometimes think about enhancing user experience that uses cognitive human factor, right? So that manipulative, just making the application more pleasant to use, make it, for example, how many of you have the bank, online banking, right? And most of you but some of you, they have more than one bank. I ask you right now, can you tell me which one is easy to use? Now, for me, I have one that I find easy to use simply because I started with that one bank application, right? So I can use it. But let's say you can graduate it, you have your first income, or you become a freshman and you're the back watching out kind of financial autonomy, know how to manage your own finance, and started using a bank account that if your money or you started having 3 or 4 banks. And I ask you right now, which application is nice to use? You can probably tell me, right? This one is very easy. Now, when it comes to easy, it's easy because for this bank size QR payment, and all you do is using QR payment. They're not making that easy to do, right? But for me, let's say I have to look after investment portfolio. Maybe it's not. So it's also specific to use it. Now that aspect just depends on which cohort you belong. But having said that, you can also finicky use. You have to manipulate basically how many buttons you have to press to get to what you want to do. Right? So that is something that definitely driven. User interface, user experience, definitely driven. Now, for this class, you are probably discussing that right. Your group project should have maybe 4 or 5, and then 6 is a good number. So you can randomly assign you, or you can pick your friend. How would you like? Maybe picking yourself maybe easier. Okay, so in a team of, let's say a team of 5, in each team of 5, right? You have to do this kind of project. Now, obviously, in terms of project, a project doesn't have to be come up with some design. It could be a very in-depth survey of particular aspect. Maybe you're reading about chromatic scale or auditory effect of the elderly and so forth. So when I say project, it doesn't mean that you have to come up with a product. It has to be an in-depth study. Okay? In terms of what do I mean by design, chances are, again, it would fall into 3 categories. One is sort of like a digital, design things on a digital screen. So user interface, user experience, web, that sort of thing, right? So you think of one domain designing digital application, things that appears on a digital screen. One aspect would be something that is more physical, right? But of course, this is about cognitive human factor, so it's not about something that looks nice, but it's really something that serves a cognitive purpose. You know, like maybe I don't know this, maybe a handle in red for emergency exit would be better than a handle in blue for elderly care facility. I don't know. Okay? So something really strong, right? And but not ergonomics. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's not like you decide, oh, this chair is good for lumbar or for elderly. That would be more like ergonomics. That's not cognitive factor. Yeah, that's more like physiological factor. Now in this class, we will learn physiology, human physiology, not because we talk about optimal ergonomic design, but because human physiology determines of individuals. Obviously, you don't have good eyesight, you might see very well. You are green colorblind, distinguish red from green and support time drive. Okay. So now let's talk about factors. Factor here, all I want to do, so these are the two connected words, right? So how will you benefit from this class? Focus here. But why are you taking this class? It's these two things. Why are you taking this class? Because let's say before this, you're not even all that conscious of how much cognitive human factors influence customer experience. Now, appreciation. Now, the appreciation, the way I write it here as two acronyms. One is called sensitivity or limit. Okay? That's like saying human auditory, right? Anybody knows human auditory system? What's the lowest frequency you can get? It's not out of 5, but usually we say 20 to 28 or 20,000 hertz, right? 20 beats per minute. So if you vibrate something 20 times a second, that's 20 hertz. That's the lowest frequency you can get. Okay? The high frequency you can get is 20,000 hertz. But let me tell you this, any of you sort of like this high stuff. Well, in the old days, they used to advertise on this thing about speakers that goes up to 32,000 hertz or something like that. You know how much you can actually hear? Probably about 15. Well, I can get it even more. You guys are young, so you can probably hear maybe hints of 18 kilohertz, but nothing much beyond. So this kind of limits, human limits. Yeah, so think of human limits. Sensitivity, the limits. So this is like understanding what you're working. Working with young people, what are they? Example, you say a baby, right? Baby is not yet 5 months old. So you want to buy the baby something like this. You could buy a nice doll, rainbow color, right? Or not that. Babies cannot recognize color. Right? Infants cannot detect pink from green from blue. Right? They can only detect concept. So take board would be nice of you. So rainbow colors. So so this is kind of like sensitivity limits. Now, you have to understand that there's limits that apply to humanity, again, 20 to 28 hertz. Limits that apply to very young or very old, right? And limits that apply to different people of different conditions. Again, red, green, color blindness, it's a very big thing, right? We don't have to make up for it in a traffic light because if you're red, green, color blind, you cannot drive. However, if you are an elderly, even if you cannot drive, you should be able to pick green pills from red pills, right? If you can't pick green pills from red, that's dangerous. So maybe I should have 2 pills that look exactly the same and this was the great thing. Maybe light color, that. So all these things, yeah, this is the shape of the film, the shape of the packaging, this is visible. But the factor that we take into consideration is about cognitive capability. Okay, about cognitive capabilities. And that varies as you get older and so forth. And then the second aspect is once you understand the factor, you study the factor, this is what you decide. Then optimize. Optimize leverage. So this optimized leverage basically take the better. So definitely better design that leverages what you know about cognitive neuroscience, psychology. Again, the factor could be humanity, infant, aging population, whatever, right? So this inclusiveness, that certainly is how you define the way to work. Just to underline the sense of limit and sensitivity, you think of a dog, always think of a dog, right? Think of how dumb dogs think of you. Right? Because you walk to a park, you have no clue what happened. Yeah, the dog don't know. Shepherds walk up, be friends, 2 hours. These are people that will talk, not you. Right? So you are limited entities, sentient being. Same thing. Okay? Same thing. Now, don't think that you're silly, you don't have this olfactory sensitivity. You think that a animal baby cannot see colors. You should know that cannot see colors now. So these are things for you to be cognizant of. Okay, so now let's go to the word cognitive. I'm working backwards. Okay. I kind of this is not universal. Okay, so don't think that you find this important. But the way I kind of group them into 3 things. Okay, in the cognitive aspect that's relevant to this class. Okay, 1 is a sense perception. 2 is kind of like mental cognition process, and 3 is attachment. And I'll talk to you why I make this kind of distinction. So let's go to, again, and you can go look at etymology, but right, perception, okay? In terms of perception, there are 2 theoretical perspectives that are most relevant, I think, to this class. 1 is cognitive psychology, and 1 is cognitive neuroscience. Okay? They don't contradict each other. One isn't better than the other. They operate at different levels. Okay? It's like, what's more true, physics or chemistry? Well, it's different level of description. Okay. So I give you, again, I encourage you to click through and go watch YouTube, which again, I haven't watched every minute of all the videos I recommend, but I think from at least cursory glance, these are the selection that I think will give you a good intuition. Okay, so this is, by the way, a lot of this from a very good channel. I like very much. I think Crash Course in Psychology is very good. It's quick. Okay, so cognitive psychology and cognitive neuroscience. Well, if you think about it, cognitive psychology is kind of like empirical finding of what you are psychologically capable of making cognition. Yeah, so they will be able to study, say, old people, how much they color they, these are all very empirical, right? But if you want to get to the nitty-gritty, deep down mechanism inside your brain, then that's where you get to science. They both give insight at a different level. So always, I think it's, would you say that? But for this class, if you have some fundamental understanding in cognitive psychology and cognitive neuroscience, you have the high end or top level and the you know microscopic level, if you will, understanding. Now, from empirical perspective, when I say empirical perspective, okay, I like to separate, I like to use this code word. One called bandwidth and one is granularity. Bandwidth is like what I said earlier. Dogs can hear to maybe 40,000 kHz, right? But your bandwidth is here. So it's like a range of things and where are you? Your client's here, your objects, your audience is there, the population is here, so it's what kind of bandwidth. And bandwidth in the audio, we mentioned that already, right? So it's I tend to reference NCBI website just to actually get to understand deeper. Yeah, if you watch YouTube, you get a good understanding, but you won't get the source. Visually, right? Visually, you are between 380 and 780 nanometers, right? It's not hard to pass, by the way. And what kind of colors can you see? Red, blue, and green. But if you follow the link, you will see that it's not. I can see red, blue, and green. It's sort of like a normal curve that overlaps. This has been well studied. Yeah. A lot of you may have learned in high school biology about the rod codes and ability to recognize shades versus color, and light sensitivity, and so forth. Chemical, yeah, I mentioned that already. And so, a good thing to keep in mind is what dogs have to know and tell you about what happened. Tactile, there's also, a lot of this. And if you look at all things that you can think of as, okay, and working with infants, here. You're working with elderly in here, you're working with men here. The other one is called granularity. That means how much of detail. So it's like resolution. Okay? So a good example would be, okay? I think two things are very important. Example, one is linguistic, one is colors. Yeah, so these colors, you guys know about night vision, right? Okay. Why is night vision green? Anybody? What's the concept? Again, people data or the level of granularity, meaning resolution. How many shades of light to dark can you see in this screen? How many shades from light to dark can you distinguish in gray? Okay? So I think apparently we are probably more efficient identifying darker shades of green from lighter shade of green in a very granular. Granular comes from the word gray, right? So how many fine sets can you separate, right? So I'm being crude here, but say if you paint everything in red, you can probably see dark, very dark, light, very dark. Okay, green is dark, and more dark, some is more dark. So that's the idea. That's the idea. The other one is, I think this one is probably beyond the scope of this class. Linguistic granularity is something very important and something that cognitive psychologists and communication theorists are grappling. How many of you speak German? No, right? Well, German is a very interesting language. German is a little bit, they're very logical, but at the same time, they're very sensitive to emotion. So they have a little bit of emotional sensitivity that you don't see a lot in the Western world. People, translating five different pieces. Translating an English. Translating the legacy, who likes to work, girlfriend, granddaughter, grandmother, because you have a little secret word. Right? Well, we have funny words. Good example would be my side, which means you don't like, you don't need you have a so it's very interesting topic. But I think it's way beyond what you are going to study. Let me show you. This is good fun, by the way. Go to this side. Let me see. Schadenfreude. I can't pronounce it, but that's yeah, this one's good. So anyway, there's so many German words that are a little bit like Asian language or Chinese. You know, Chinese have funny words like it's not translated English. So that's a bit of a side trivia. Okay, let's get back to our thing. So think in terms of bandwidth and granularity. So you have the theoretical perspective to study, and you have the actual, let's say, numbers. So theoretically, you have a limited possible spectrum, but in bandwidth, you would say, oh, 20 degrees. Yeah, you work with that. When you get to design, by the way, this is something I learned very early. Was in college, for some reason I was in design, I didn't like, well, I guess in America, science is maybe I'm not very good at creating artists. And the first thing that he showed me was this mind girl, yeah. And so basically color. Take one that's red, one that's green, different colors, right? But if you put like white border around it so that it seems a narrow band, if the red and the green have the same AC or process to place here, can't tell. Really can't tell red and green. Amazing. So all these kind of things, this is something that we have to keep in mind. Granularity, ability to distinguish one color from the next. Basai has a logo that has many colors in the back. Can people really appreciate that? Okay. So now, mental cognition. Okay. Again, the two aspects which I need to mention. One is the language communication, but I think even in terms of coverage, in terms of your project, it's probably harder to go into that. You really need, it's like when I teach machine learning. There's a big chunk of machine learning that has to do with natural language. I will touch it, this is a minor thing. If you want to learn about machine learning, natural language, it's a small big course. But certainly the thing that means a lot to you now is memory and recall. Yeah? So for example, go look at this, short-term memory, long-term memory, what sticks in your mind. Sometimes you hear of the rule of 7. For example, if I ask you to remember random object, 3, you can probably do that. 4, yeah. 7 is about maximum. If I ask you to remember random object, unless you have 1. So 7 to 10 tends to be the average. So when you design a web page and you want to get the message across, you say, oh, this characteristic, you list down 15. You're going to just lose the order. And now this is mental cognition. It is how you get things across. How can your client, your audience perceive or get the message, but they may or may not like it. So there has to be about attraction, right? Something, why do you like? And this is where there are two frameworks that I really like. Possibly dig into. One is the neuroscience aesthetic. Yeah, there's actually a neuroscience aesthetic. People can You know about functional memory? You line up, They're looking at a nice picture of right? So picture of drugs, like that. You get different response. And the other thing which I think you should study as well is the four happy chemicals. The reason I do this is because four happy chemicals, even though it's not that precise, it's a little bit of an approximation. It helps you organize the psychology of motivation. And a lot of this, the most notorious, but the most well-known hormone is what? Anybody? Dopamine, right? Dopamine is the second chemical. Behind all the rest, that's behind why mice cannot move away from the screen. Okay? How many people think that dopamine is a reward for getting something? Actually, no. Dopamine is not a reward for getting something. Dopamine is a reward for almost getting something. Yeah. In other words, you're alive. You're hunting. Deer. Okay? When the deer is reachable, right? Do you need that energy once the deer? No. Do you need that energy when the deer is far away? No. Dopamine is the hormone that gets activated when you just within reach. Okay? So once the lion grabs the deer, the dopamine is on. And then, he wants another deer, wants another deer. So that's why you get all this internet fixes. It gives you a little bit of a reward of something new. Something, and when you do, I don't know, online shopping, you're not even buying it, right? But you get it. I could put this in my basket. I would nice with it. It's still angry. It's not quite there. That's really a good thing. When the stuff arrives in the box, the dopamine is gone. You will notice that how much less of the drug you get. Yeah? So dopamine is sort of like a hunter's reward. It's a reward that energizes you when you're about to get something. So that is put into overdrive in digital marketing. So again, you should be aware of that. Okay, so cognitive. And finally, let's get to what we mean by human. This is very interesting. Okay, now, I want you to pay good attention because this is the material that will not be covered in other classes because this is really more like a foundation of how we view humanities. Okay, what is human? What is human, guys? Anybody have a perspective on what's human? Okay, I'll give you a few perspectives. One, evolutionary tree. Obviously, that you in relation to other hominids, these are your evolutionary cousins, right? How did you become human being? When's the first human Homo sapien around? Anybody? Roughly what, 200,000 years? Okay? Before here, have two species. We actually got the first. So, evolutionary tree perspective, why is that useful to us? Anybody? Why? Well, how did we survive as opposed to other hominids? We have to think through, right? We have to distinguish class A. Yeah. So all these explanations, you may not really be deep into it, but cognitively speaking, you are where you are. You are limited vis-a-vis a dog. That is no accident. Dogs need that kind of olfactory spectrum that we don't need. We only need this much because that's yeah. So in other words, when I was talking about the spectrum, dogs are here, humans are here. It's not by accident. It's a result of evolutionary fine-tuning. Now, one thing, so that's a little bit far-fetched. That's a little bit beyond here. Now, two things you can think through is the two hemispheres. Human beings are two hemispheres. And this is a good way of thinking of how we operate cognitively. Okay? So go read up and maybe at least watch on YouTube and go deep dive. One that I really would almost require you to watch. Okay? So splitting your brain to left and right, that's a very good organizing principle for understanding how human beings perceive, make cognition of the environment. But to me, the most powerful is the three layers perspective. What's called reptilian brain, limbic, and neocortex. Right? So basically autonomous, emotional, and critical thinking. And how this interplay is very important. The biggest trick in digital marketing is the fact that you think you are operating with neocortex, but in fact, you're being influenced by the limbic system. That's the biggest technique, the most powerful technique in digital marketing. Okay? You think you are neocortex animal, but in fact, you are also very much. That's how we get it. Okay? So read it. By the way, Robert Sapolsky is brilliant. I mean, I read it when I was okay? But I read it for a long time. It's very elegant. So this is not a YouTuber explaining science. This is a scientist explaining science. Okay? He's on research. So go watch it. Finally, so let me show you what he looks like. That's this guy. Okay. Yeah, it's a little bit long. It's 40 minutes, but it's brilliant. It's brilliant. I can't find anything shorter that's more insightful. Okay, so that's this guy. The brain. Yeah, this is Robert Sapolsky. This is the guy that I want you to go watch. Now, guys, the other guys I want you to watch is his name is David something. Okay, I think his name is David. Duff. Sorry, Duff. Okay. Well. Okay, this guy he explains the Buddhist concept of 5 aggregates. Why does the 5 aggregates matter? Okay, pay attention. We're talking about the cognitive property of human beings, cognitive capacity, cognitive responsibility. What is a human being? Okay? Now, in Buddhism and increasingly in cognitive psychology, we can separate phenomenology of human beings into 5 aspects. Okay? One is the physical aspect. Okay? That's the rule. Rule, for example. Okay? Rule. Vedana. Vedana is feeling, but it's not the feeling in the sense that it's a feeling of something that you avert, find aversion, or something that you like. So it gives you a scale of that. So that's why at the end of the day, all these conflicts is engineered so that what the cell people do, they appeal to the positive stuff. Right? And if they want to political activities, the political activities, they would associate that with things. So data analysis is a response for identifying events, objects, stories, whatever, with a scale of good or not that good. Something you dislike, something you like, something you don't do illegal. So that's Vedana. Sanya is the most germane aspect. I think it is fine. Sanya means cognition and recognition. Okay? In Thai, Jandai means Jandai means you can remember, you can recognize. Right? Mindful means you can make mental experiment. Okay, what's Jandai? You see a little bit of milk coming. Right? You see a little milk coming, that's that. Mindful is when you see really big cat. Right? A really big cat. You don't know what it is. But you know by human evolution, all knowledge based, is extrapolation is big. In fact, in English, so like, so sometimes I do recognize this. Now, this is very relevant to our research. I want to yeah, sometimes is the human we have awareness. But the point is that these are the elementary human beings that have cognitive limitation. How do people so talk about well, how about branding? How about branding? Say you have affinity to yeah. That is local recognize what brand that belongs. But we actually see it not on this product. You see on the new product being protect whatever feeling associated with whatever. Okay? So the apple cells. Yeah, yeah. For example, now you have medical association. Let's say first map here. You have feeling the sense of what it means to have so if try to get they were engineering the subject. Also because I can't reach if the computer serves my life what? Yeah. Again, you are either the consumer or developer. You're a consumer, you are aware that this is being used to sell things to you. If you are a developer, know that this thing will give you a product in your side. Yeah, this guy is very, very good at explaining the 5 ขันทั้ง5ลูก Okay. Okay. Now, so these are the concepts. Schema. For this class, the schema is very simple. What I mean by schema, it's like concept you put in the background. I want you to keep one of these in mind. There will always be how do we mobilize or leverage attention, right? Attention. What gets your attention? Be bad, but it gets your attention. Yeah. What else? What gets your attention? What gets you like it? Human recognition, yeah. And finally, communication. Because sometimes you're trying to sell things, but you're trying to communicate. Yeah, and we'll talk about show you a very good example of that. So these are the things I want you to sort of like. I think because I'm trying to make this course practical in a way, but make it analytical. That was just one is good components coming together. You have to make good things. So I think whatever you study, if you read, develop, or work on your project, try to ask yourself, which bucket? It's not usually exclusive, but you can usually say, oh, this is about engineering practice. This is about getting attention. This is about communicating information. Yeah? Or this is about trying to make sure that the thing is very flexible from distinguishable from everything. Yeah? So these are the 4 buckets I propose. Now, finally, the last part of today is I just want to talk about the coverage. So we talked a little bit already, and this is the science of it. These are the things that you will be learning from the other instructor. So I'm not gonna elaborate on that. Likewise, engineering. Now this is where I come in a little bit. So that's the visualization, user interface, and so forth. Okay. Now let's talk about coverage in terms of like case studies. Okay. Now I'm leaving the case studies to the other instructor. Select. Okay. But here I just want to delineate that there are different themes. There are different themes, right? So in terms of colors, let's talk about colors. There are certain things like, why are night vision goggles green? We talked about that already, right? Why do boxers and wrestlers like to wear red? You know that? And guys, you wear MMA, or boxing, or wrestling, or judo. Well, some of this, you do not get a person out. Yeah? But if you do not get it out, you get oil. Right? It turns out that there's a psychological effect where you have to. So if you look at non-knock from taekwondo, Olympic wrestling, from boxing, most of the time because we kind of associate red with aggression. So the judges, the red yeah. Now this is not hard to find, but it's one of the empirical findings. We find it in research. Yeah. So if you're selling, say you're designing swimming trunks, right? Swimming trunk has no judgment, right? The faster you are, you're the winner. So maybe it doesn't matter if it's red or blue, right? Yeah. But if you're designing boxing, jersey, whatever, you might say, okay, the reason I chose red and it has a logo, right? You're not talking about the boxing front, you're talking about the logo. Red. Because it was, because I think now, whether or not, write down guys. This is very important caveat. Okay? I want you to remember this one consideration of it. Never ever forget. Just because the sign makes the connection, it doesn't mean you can make that connection. I'll give you an extreme case. Everybody needs iron as part of our chemical. You don't have iron and regardless of work. That is the science, right? Everybody needs iron. Somebody tells you iron skillet because by using iron skillet, you will have more iron in your system. You buy that? No, probably not, right? And yet, all the marketing that is based on science, that's exactly right. Okay? There's a study somewhere on mice that apparently found based something neural involvement. And you say, okay, I will just try to tell. Your grandmothers have people that do it. Is that true? No. But don't make that leap. Okay? So this is very important. You are learning about cognitive human factor that have a positive influence or association with color. It doesn't mean that just because you know that, you decide everything in red. You just tell the important answer is blue. Okay? So don't make that silly leap. So remember that I'm feeling. You can't make it. So a lot of it is different. But understand how this works. That why is important. Okay, these are all about colors. So these are design elements. Infographic. Okay, I'll come back to this. This is the biggest example. Okay, I want you to go home. Yep. Sure. Black. Yeah. I think there are okay. In this class we are trying to identify human factor. In other words, across culture, across history, this is how human beings operate. Having said that, there's also the cohort effect. For example, so the ask why is that black is more important now. It could be a social thing. That in the past 20 years, black has become a cool number, a cool color. Like black is the new orange, orange is black. Okay? So, when we talk to factors, I don't mean for all time. Right? First of all, that yeah, being exposed by social. Yes, constantly change, but not quickly. In other words, 2023, black is cool. You are not going to make black cool. But don't be surprised if 2030, nobody decided to. When I was still living, we didn't have one car. All the cars had blue, red, yellow, silver, gold, no white cars. Nowadays, every car is white. That is probably beyond. It's a little bit like this. This class for engineering. Using what you know about the effect of color on people to make your product appealing. But to predict what color is going to be the next thing in 5 years? I think that's hard. That's probably way. It's not just beyond this part, it's beyond a lot of the research. And color is a very, it's very historic. Guys know this? What's blue? Boys wear. Boys wear blue, right? Girls wear pink, right? Anybody disagree? I have something more to share. Okay, what do boys wear? Blue. What do girls wear? Pink. Wrong. 100 years ago, boys wear pink, girls wear blue. Why? Have you ever seen those right? What color do men wear? Right. What do little men wear? Pink. Little men wear pink because big men wear red. You know what little girls wear? Blue. Because for the large majority of human history, they wear. Right? This is mother, this is mom, blue, blue, blue. So blue has always been and pink is a little red. So if you're a whole that's red. I'll switch. Well, I'll switch. So yeah, definitely. Definitely. Now, this one I want you to go watch. There are 2 videos. Any of you guys have been to London? Raise your hand if you've been to London. Okay. What's the first thing you do? Let's what Londoners do? First thing they do is they get a shoe mat, which is this. Better yet, I do. Hold on, give me a minute. Okay. Okay, you guys been to, those of you who have been to London, you need this, right, to get around. Right? Well, you don't have to go to London. This is where it started. Londoners have been using tools for a long time. That's the grade. Now, because this was actually the main application, they literally absolutely not built around. So all you need to know is how to take underground. So when they make the map, okay, originally it was a map of where the station was. But in terms of population, in terms of user friendliness, user experience, user interface, it really needs geographical location of the stop. No, because you need to do one thing. Get on the stop, go 3 stops, you know. So this is not geographically accurate. This is not geographically accurate. Okay. Of course, you know, okay. So I got my PhD at Imperial, right? So that's my station, South Kensington. Okay. Gloucester Road, South Kensington, walkable. Oathcourt, not so much. South Ealing would take me half a day to walk. Okay. So this has nothing to do with geographical distance. Okay? Has nothing to do with geographical distance. But it has a rough idea because I know that I'm here at the bottom left side of the Hyde Park. If I want to go to option 3, which is starting from the northeast part of High Park or High Park, I'm going to the like upper right, but it's not 45-degree upper right. Okay, but in this graph, it is written as 45 degrees. It's not. Now, this is a success story. The reason I want the 2B of the link is because they try to do exactly the same thing in who's been in New York City. Okay. Does New York City use that? Unless you show a particular period, 5 to 10 years, you will not see something like this for US Bank. They try to do the same thing. They try to do the same thing. However, it failed completely. Okay? It failed completely. Because culturally, socially, they didn't like it. One of it, there's some explanation. One explanation is because they have to mix two underground travel with walking, and if you walk a long distance along a crowd-ridden area, it's really dangerous. So they have to make a representation to commensurate with distance, something like that. Also because New Yorkers used to have 3 rail systems that have these 3 different maps, and they all are geographic. So when they merged, it was more understandable. So this is a design decision. Design element, legibility, 45 degrees. This is all spelled out. And you can read a whole thesis on why this is map. You can also read another thesis why this failed New York. Yeah, so that's it. This is human cognitive design. What function are we talking about? Well, it's not about attraction, it's not about attention. It's about communication. Right? Londoners are happy being communicated which station is next to which. They don't care about this, but New Yorkers do. Because when they get off, they have to walk along. So this is a very good example of cognitive human factor. Where the human factor only is humanity at large, and not only is you in society. New Yorker versus London. Now in terms of Paris, it'll be Paris. Okay? So these are all case studies that you guys can dig deep into. Short-term memory, again, grocery list. Now, development is a big theme. Now, these 2 things here, I haven't elaborated. I'm not elaborating so much, but I would encourage you to do so. Okay? So, because a large part, not a large part, particularly a quarter of you are going to tell time. And a lot of that will have to take into your areas, right? Study of coordination. So definitely how cognitive capacity will innovate. Yeah. In terms of developmental, we talk about, there's another that goes 80 and Finally, the other dimension I want you to go is psychoactivity. Now, psychoactivity is not really a formal word, but it covers anything that has to do with activism or degree of activism. Okay, why when we go psychological have those when you smoke marijuana, that numbs your perceptive capability, right? What else? Maybe tired. And that's why they have a study of human fatigue on mentality. They haven't found any control flight. That means the plane is running to the ground. Okay? Because of the not aware. Okay? How many of you are scuba divers? I trained in scuba diving, anybody? No? Okay, what do they teach you about scuba diving? Yeah, to breathe. Now, what is yeah, so you go up slow because of this of this registration. But if you go down too deep, you know, get drunk. You literally get drunk. You know, I think I must be a little bit involved in. But actually, I linked a video of a guy who died on. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, see. Yeah, this guy, Yuri Lipsky, actually video himself because he went too deep. He couldn't recover from. Basically, he was drunk. He got down too deep. The nitrogen gets into his system. He gets down to night. Everything narcosis. So professional, when they go very deep, 2 days. Either they use what's called saturated. The other thing they do is they must read coffee. They don't read normal gas. They read itself. To minimize. Okay, so this is also cognitive, right? And you see the video is quite frantic. Sometimes they're trapped in that cave, nothing to take. Oh, it's obvious, right? But you're not there. You're not 20 years in a cave. You're ignited there in the system. This is very real. So psychoactivity is very much an effect that happens. So these are all different aspects that you can dig deep into, and I encourage you to. I really don't. I'm not the. Okay, so good. So now, okay, that's all I have to say. That's all I really have to say. What I think is useful is for you to start forming teams. Okay, you can use concept of have you guys worked together in project before? I want to say the same people. Okay? Would you guys like to how would you like to do this? How do you really?
We've been together for a year now. Or you want us to manage it? How do you keep them?
Okay. Now, I just want to take a little bit of consensus. Raise your hand. You haven't made up your mind. Raise your hand during the fourth line. How many of you are going for health science? One. Okay, one. Health system, that's it. What thing? Okay, how many of you are going to smart cities? Smart cities? Oh, hey, it's a good area. A lot of
Really one? Okay. But it's a fun, but you can be same thing.
what's the future? So, okay, how many people are going sustainability? Very quick area. How many people are going to apply digital intelligence? Yes. This area. Fine. But no, okay. It's always been the case that once people go into apply digital intelligence because they want to be knowledge. I'm not trying to say don't come because I don't like. Not what the point is, I'm trying to present a tool. You have to create how to do it. So, you like the tool and the subject. You can do both. You can be in the artificial intelligence and pick on, say, sustainability problem. Or you can be in sustainability track, but use artificial intelligence. Yes. So just because you like that works on AI and machine learning doesn't mean we have to count the self as okay, welcome me. Like don't count this person thing that's only places in study AI. In the future, AI is going to mistakes. Yeah. So you can study sustainability, you will use AI. Yeah. So okay. Other than essentially have a framework. Okay. Chat, okay. That's a good question. ChatGPT, any of you aware of this? Okay. I might as well do this. I might as well do this. Let me ask a big question. I'll tell you what happened with in okay. First thing first. How do you guys learn things? You only need these are basic stuff. There are three ways to learn things. Okay. One, if you just observe, make conclusion, make association. That's the first way to learn. Okay, when you came out of your mom and you associate your mom with warm milk being fed, when you associate crop, this is called unsupervised. Nobody taught you just associate. Unsupervised. Then when you start speaking, your mom says, this is an apple. And you say, apple. Your mom says, good. She picks up banana. You say, apple. She says, good. So she gives you each feedback. That's called supervisor. You grow up, you start doing candy, so you get candy from your brother and sister, you go to kindergarten, you like to play toys, you don't share. Otherwise, nobody likes you. And then you realize that if you start sharing your toys, people like you more. These are behavioral reinforcement. So it's called reinforcement learning. Yeah? Most of the AI that you are familiar with so, there's a something. Most of the AI you're familiar with is about supervisor. Meaning, I show a picture of a computer, and I say, this is a cat, show another picture, this is a dog. The computer works out the internal parameters, make the right thing. Okay? Now, the only catch is that computer can only take a number. So I want to show the computer picture, I translate pictures into numbers. Right, exactly. So they find a way through what's called convolutional theory. Just a way of processing. It's inspired from neurology, study of habit. But anyway, the point is, instead of feeding a picture to a AI cube, it doesn't do that directly. So you have to embed, have to have a way of translating picture into numbers. And this thing then goes to this identification layer. So that is the breakthrough in 2000. Well, actually, the mathematics was done in 30 years. by Japanese Professor Fukushima. But the computer wasn't powerful. So when NVIDIA had this big, long story short, in 2010, they used a card to do this. And that's why you can feed picture to computer to get the label. Then you get the idea that, wait a minute, this identification is not the hard part. The hard part is turning the data, which is not numerical picture, into numerical in a way that separates things that are far apart into things that are far apart, make things that are close together into things that are close. Right? So some guy came up with a clever way and said, hey, we can that work. So the first technology that came is turn words to numbers with the proviso that words that occur together in a similar context are represented as numbers that are close. Yeah? These numbers are not just one number, it's 300 numbers. Okay? So if you think of cat represented by 300 numbers, dog represented by 300 numbers, dog represented by 300. The cat and dog numbers should be close to each other. After all, but nobody the word today. So keep this aside. Then there's another thing. So the whole breakthrough of 2010 to this year is about turning things that are not numbers into numbers, so that you put it in simple and teaching them. The other thing that came out is a little bit of gameplay. If I use computer to generate something that food and you said this complicated. So one computer generates a cat. The other computer says cat space, cat, we don't have enough, we don't have enough. The other one is doing. They compete. They have two computers. The end result originally was not that the computer is not cool. But internet being the internet is, people focus on the wrong thing. They say, hey, we can make that. Let's do that. Yeah. So people start focusing on generative models. We put these things together. Ability to work with essentially words or and ability sort of like human. Yeah, generative. Then you get all kinds of advanced technology. That is the biggest breakthrough of that big breakthrough along the line of reinforcement learning. So in the past 10 years, there are two umbrella big things that happen in the AI space that can discover solutions too difficult to discover. The AI that can mimic human interaction. Okay? And that human interaction includes generative capability. Now, if you say generative capability, think about this. If you take a picture, there's a ground truth, right? Sorry, if you're drawing there's a ground truth. The more light, yeah. But if you generative tasks, like do this, but pretend you will bad look. Okay? Then we have this kind of stylized generative figure. So all this, all this is in this umbrella. It's just more about than whatever it is. Now, it used to be where if you have a model, you read about it, because this model is so complicated, uses so many, basically, so many, right? Even if they can the algorithm happen. So they make this available online. Okay? For example, the word embedding that I talked about, at equals to dot or before. Okay, that's in English, right? In 2019, January. Okay, something like that. So now you can say male is supposed to be in the ring. Okay, there's a type embedded. Now, again, I make it on your own. So, it is more powerful. You can't wait. You have to use it as a how do you reverse? I slightly different. I mean, we can one unit is real. It is not big. Okay? We can use that. 2018, they said that instruction to on my work with CA, they ran a code. This is about what IBM does is that it allows a program to write a code so that the quantum computer is can run the result here. Okay? So in a way, yeah, it is similar. It is the same thing in the sense of use their model. The difference is that for IBM it's more like educational purpose. You can't do much, really. You can't do much. You only have to target the can't do much. But the GPT, the quantum training model, these you can do. You can literally write an essay, say it here. So it's all what we're doing is not yet more like education. I'm going to we can do one program. But you can't take an app that say track something with this can be one. That's very good. Again, part of mine. But it's not things to my mind. One of the things. So that's how got 10, 20 minutes. You guys can do it. Okay. Anybody have a question or might as well. I'm not gonna be you guys long. Okay, so I'm just gonna I also okay, last thing, guys. Okay, Okay, last thing is, when you go to the mind map, you go to the reading list, right? The textbook, if you really want that, just line in the book, read anything. Everybody. Okay, you guys, why not do that? You know, From
The mind map process become
X Mind. Yeah, you can download. I send